Hi, I'm Arun George, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. In this episode, we will talk about the Indian Railways gradually getting back on track. We will also examine its impact on a state like Bihar that is seeing a sudden influx of people. We're also looking at a police body withdrawing a report on the investigation of fake news. But first, an update about what the Prime Minister said in his latest address to the nation.
मैं आज एक विशेष आर्थिक पैकेज की घोषणा कर रहा हूं.
In his latest address to the nation since the pandemic hit India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced a 20 lakh crore rupee financial package to boost economic growth. The details of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, or Self-Sufficient India initiative, whose size the Prime Minister says is 10% of the country's GDP, will be announced by the Finance Minister starting Wednesday. The Prime Minister said that the rules for the lockdown, after the current phase ends on May 17, will be communicated soon. Modi also urged Indians to make the nation self-sufficient and that they should be vocal for local products. The Prime Minister said Indians should not just buy Indian products, but also praise them. He said the nation would need to progress even as it continued to battle the coronavirus. On Sunday, without any prior notice, Indian Railways announced that it was going to start interstate passenger services from Tuesday. Unlike the trains for stranded workers in states, these passenger services would start only from Delhi and operate to 15 major cities across the country. Bookings opened on Monday, and despite a 2-hour delay, tickets were sold out in minutes. But a ticket came with conditions. Those boarding the trains had to have confirmed tickets, show no symptoms of COVID-19, and wear a mask or face cover throughout. The first train left on Tuesday for Howrah in West Bengal. We spoke with Abhishek Dastidar, who covers Indian Railways for the Indian Express, and started by asking him the logic of starting the trains after almost 50 days of lockdown. So Abhishek, after the Shramik special trains to transport migrants, these are the first trains that Indian Railways will be operating since the lockdown. What's the logic behind operating these trains given that flights are still grounded?
So the government wants to gradually open up the economy and ease the restrictions imposed by the lockdown. So this is a stated intention of the government. A few days ago in the official COVID briefing of the government, it was said that the country needs to learn to live with the virus slowly. So this move has to be viewed in that context. There's a lot of suppressed demand for interstate travel thanks to the lockdown, people stranded, people who needs to do essential interstate travel, etc. So the government in its wisdom thought that this was the right time to open up a few trains of interstate travel. So Rajdhani type trains have been selected. They're all AC trains. They're premium fares, and they're the fastest service that Railways offers for passengers. So the 15 routes have been identified, essentially connecting all the major cities with Delhi. And the government basically, Railways is calling it gradual restoration of passenger services. So although these are special trains, Rajdhani-like trains, these trains are open to all.
Abhishek, when you mention it's like Rajdhani-like trains, do you mean it'll stop at those limited number of stops, or is it going to be like those Shramik specials which go end to end and you don't kind of stop anywhere?
No, this is just like any other normal train, except that the number of stoppages have been customized a bit. So, I mean, a normal Rajdhani train on that route would have stopped at, let's say, X number of places. The special Rajdhani on the same route will stop at fewer places. But then the route's the same as with the usual Rajdhani on that route.
So you mentioned how Delhi is the starting point for all these trains right now. Was there any concern about operating closed air-conditioned trains out of Delhi, which is now a red zone?
Railways says that there had been an application of mind on this particular concern because air-conditioned environment, trains, etc., vis-a-vis the outbreak, vis-a-vis how the infection happens and transmission happens and how the coronavirus behaves in an AC environment. This has been a matter of debate and controversy all over the world since the beginning of the outbreak, the beginning of the global pandemic. Okay, so many of the railway systems like in Japan and China, one of the fixes that they have found is by increasing the refresh rate of the air conditioning in the coaches, which basically means taking in more fresh air more frequently and pumping it into the compartment. So Railways has also modified its air conditioning in a manner that now it has maximized the refresh rate. Now it pumps in fresh air into the coach some 12 times in 1 hour. So that is one of the things that they have done.
So one more thing is with these trains, we're kind of going backward in time in some ways, aren't we? There's no food, there may be water, there are no blankets. That journey from Delhi to some place like Thiruvananthapuram will be a long one now, won't it?
Well, that is there. But the government tells us that the fact remains that a lockdown is still in place and you're running the trains. So finding resources to run mega kitchens to feed train passengers on board, en route, is going to be difficult. And also, this is part of a string of moves to, adopt caution. So what they've done is they're not giving food, cooked meal, they're not giving blankets and linen. And, in Rajdhani, you get a pillow and a couple of bed sheets and a blanket. That they're not giving. All the curtains from the upper classes of AC2 tier and first AC, they have been removed. So these are some of the things they're doing as part of, caution. Laundry services are shut in most of the places, so giving linen would not be possible. And Rajdhanis also have what you call onboard housekeeping staff who travel on the train and regularly keep cleaning the train on journey. That won't be happening. So these restrictions are there. Some food items will be sold just like in airlines, like, pre-cooked meals and noodles, wherein you pour a little bit of hot water and those cup noodles and maybe some biscuits and some chips, etc. I mean, those will be provided, but for a price.
Also, what's the logic behind having bookings only through IRCTC? On the first day we saw like a 2-hour delay. Was that to do with the site? And how long is this expected to continue?
No, that's because of social distancing. The thing is that they couldn't have opened, that's what they said, that they couldn't have opened the counters, booking counters, because then, managing the crowds and maintaining social distancing at the counters would probably have become, unmanageable. So to avoid all that, they have said that only confirmed tickets booked through the IRCTC website, which is the official website for booking train tickets in India, only those tickets will be sold and allowed. Some counters will be opened only for, some special category passengers who avail passes, like the MPs and MLAs and freedom fighters and, higher official requisition, etc. But general public, general class tickets, general category tickets will have to be booked only on the website.
Given that we've started now just from Delhi, do we know how long Indian Railways will wait before they start operating from other lines?
We've been told informally that this current exercise of running these few trains, that is 30 to and fro journeys, this will continue for like 7 to 10 days, after which the government may take a call to pump in more trains in other routes as well. And one of the things that needs to be said is that in a last-minute decision, the contact tracing app Arogya Setu has been made mandatory for travelers. So anybody who doesn't have the app on the phone will not be able to travel.
So once these trains start, will these also be these Rajdhani type trains, or will they be the regular passenger trains then?
Well, that is difficult to say. I mean, what will happen, that is difficult to predict. But then, going by what officials are telling us and going by the spirit of the policy or the strategy as it stands now, is that the government wants to slowly, cautiously resume passenger train services, however slowly and over a longer period of time. More and more trains on other routes will also be started.
Also, one thing is, the railways have been providing a lot of coaches for hospitals across the country. There'll be these containment zones for people who test positive or need to be isolated. How much has that hit operations?
So currently, none of the 5,000 odd coaches is in use, but the government has identified some 215 stations across India, irrespective of which zones they fall in, like green, orange, or red. The states have been asked to, requisition those coaches if they need to supplement their hospital infrastructure for isolation and, as COVID care centers. Additionally, Railways has also earmarked some 20,000 coaches for this particular use if the need arises.
Okay, but that's not linked to passenger services in any way. Passenger services are completely unaffected by that.
Yeah. These are coaches which have been like normal coaches which have been converted into isolation wards. And what they'll do is ideally, they'll connect like 10 coaches together and connect it with an engine and turn it into a train. So that isolation train will move from one place to the other, based on the request of the state government.
One of the states most affected by the movement of people is Bihar, that has the second highest number of migrants traveling out of the state. We spoke to the Indian Express's Santosh Singh a little over a week ago, where he spoke about how Bihar didn't want its migrant workers to rush back. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar was among the few to oppose the sending of buses to bring back people stuck in other states. At a meeting with the Prime Minister on Monday, the Chief Minister said he should have been consulted over the trains to transport workers back to Bihar. But Bihar has an additional concern. It says it lacks the testing capability for such an influx. We speak to Santosh, who covers Bihar for the Indian Express, about the current situation there. So, Santosh, could you start by telling us why Bihar is worried over testing?
It's mainly because of the migrants' return. And the second leg of migrants' return is fraught with danger. In a sense, on 9th of May, the Health Department took random test of some 1,100 passengers who came from various trains. And some 47 of them were tested positives. That is quite a big number. That is about 4%. That is cause of worry. In the first spurt, since the first lockdown or during the first lockdown, about 3 lakh people had returned to Bihar. But there were only few positive cases then. And further, since May, government has started door-to-door screening, and they have screened about, so far, 10.40 crore population. And only 4,000 odd samples were taken. That shows that our home population is by and large clean. But since the migrant has returned through 6 interstate borders and through Shramik specials, there has been a sudden surge of case. I think day before yesterday, 78 cases were there. In the last 3 days, we have more than 150 cases. On an average, 40, 50 cases have been there every day now. So that's the real cause of worry. Migrants return, and of course, they are being quarantined. They are being taken to blockade quarters where they will be kept for 21 days. Now, government is revising that, slashing it down to 14 days after the advice of experts.
So could you elaborate on how Bihar is dealing with this new influx of state residents?
There are 2 ways of dealing it. First, they are dealing random tests. They are increasing the number of tests. So far, they have capacity to test, say, around 2,000 cases per day. And now they have asked ICMR to augment facility so that they can test around 8,600 cases per day. That would be their optimum capacity to test. That is what they have asked for. Because so far, till this date, from 1st May till yesterday, about 1.2 lakh people have returned to Bihar only through trains, and some 40-50,000 through 6 interstate borders. And incoming by the end of this month, there would be something like 3.5 lakh migrants returning home. This is besides the normal trains. I'm just talking about the Shramik special trains. It's humanly impossible to, run test of all. Of course, they are being taken to quarantine centers, and if they show some symptoms, if the cases are symptomatic, COVID test will be conducted. Or else they just run the thermal screening. Doctors visit the centers every day. So that's one. I think in the second phase, they have also kept eye on the home population. Home population, in a sense, they have not yet concluded the door-to-door screening. And yes, at the ground level, that is very important. They have alerted the local representatives, Mukhia, Sarpanch, ward members, to ensure that no one could sneak into their house, no migrant. If there is any case, that has to be reported with local police station. And of course, there has been increasing alertness among village youth. They are reporting such cases to the local police station. Even a relative gets to know about some persons have come to this house, they would call the police. So these are the 2 ways Bihar government has been trying to tackle the problem.
So when you talk of people calling up other people and informing them, calling the police and telling them, isn't that sort of spreading fear in some ways among those who are coming back also?
By now, they have reconciled to these things. They have been hearing about the quarantine thing. It has been going on for some time. And during the first lockdown, there had been some resistance from the village. There was some cases of killing as well, mob lynching as well, for resisting the migrants. But as the cases started progressing, increasing in Bihar, people have reconciled to the fact that prevention is the only way they can break the chain somewhere. So there has been alertness. Now even the migrants, people are calling them not to come to home directly, but to go to quarantine centers. And from the quarantine centers, they can ask for some stuff from their homes, say beds, in some cases food as well. Though the family members are not allowed to meet them, they can leave the stuff at the gates of quarantine centers.
So Bihar is also a unique place because apart from thousands of people traveling back to the state, it's even seeing people traveling from Bihar to their original workplaces. This means it's going to be a sort of business as usual pretty soon. How prepared is Bihar for something like this?
Yes, there would be business as usual soon, but not too soon because the cases have been on the rise. So far, there has been requests from 2 states, Telangana and Punjab. Owners from Telangana have asked for some laborers from Khagadia, and 222 passengers have already left. They are saying that your Shramik special trains on return journey are empty so that you can facilitate their return. So they would be returning soon. The request of Punjab government is still on hold because they have not yet renewed their request so far. There are two broad categories. I have been speaking to several migrants who return home. Those who are earning, say, less than 10,000 rupees, the bracket of, say, 5,000 to 10,000 rupees outside Bihar, they are saying they can stay back and manage and can see they can get some work, say, for those who are earning 10,000. Even if they earn, say, 7,000, 8,000 back home, they can stay back. But there is another category who are earning above 10,000, much better job, a secured job, some work outside Bihar. They say, no, we are going to return. One things become normal. There is no way we can stay back here because Bihar cannot offer them job. They are just waiting to transport to get normal. Also, they are, of course, a bit concerned about the cases on the rise.
So you spoke of how migrants are saying that, if unless they have a well-secured job that pays them above a certain amount, they don't want to return back to those states. That then in turn would put more pressure on the state itself, right? How prepared is Bihar for something like that?
Bihar has not been talking about preparation so far. Their revenue has slumped. I think they do not have any backup strategy so far. Of course, there would be some work with Manrega, the Water Resources Department. Some people can also start some kind of self-employment. There could be some subsidy plan from the government. But government has not been talking about it. First thing first, they have been dealing with the health crisis now. Their revenue has also slumped in April. I was just speaking to the Deputy Chief Minister was saying that state revenue has fallen by 89%. That's huge. And they have asked center to expedite some funds which are due to the state.
And finally, we talked to the Indian Express's Deeptiman Tiwari, who covers the Home Ministry. We asked him about a report by a reputed government body that was pulled down after it dealt with a controversial clip. We started by asking him to recap what the clip was about.
When the Tablighi Jamaat Alami Markaz at Nizamuddin was basically raided by the authorities more than a month back, at that time there were various news reports and a lot of social media posts which had been circulated. Among these, there were videos, there were news reports, and there were audio clips. Some of these audio clips were also run on TV channels. One particular audio clip purportedly showed that Maulana Saad, who is the chief of Tablighi Jamaat, he was allegedly instructing people that Tablighi Jamaat members did not need to observe social distancing or follow the lockdown guidelines.
Deeptiman says this was part of a larger narrative on social media that was used to target the Tablighi Jamaat and the Muslim community. And it was accompanied by other videos that allege the virus was being spread intentionally. These are believed to have sparked incidents of violence across the country.
On Saturday, the Indian Express has reported that an initial investigation by the Delhi police into an audio clip circulating about on social media about the opinions of Maulana Saad, the chief of Tablighi Jamaat, about lockdown guidelines and coronavirus and various issues associated with it. Initial investigation had found it to be doctored and that the clip had been sent to the Forensic Science Laboratory for further investigation. This report was denied by the Delhi police through an official statement. They said that it is factually incorrect. However, the same evening, the Bureau of Police Research and Development published a bulletin on fake news. It was basically a guide for investigative agencies and law enforcement agencies on how to spot fake news and investigate it. Very professionally done guide which told agencies as to what are the features of a fake news, how to go behind a fake news and investigate its source, how to break down a fake news, how to understand what's the purpose of a fake news, how to spot patterns, and different vectors through which fake news spread, such as textual, video, audio, and the like. And they gave a large number of examples of fake news. Interestingly, a significant number of these examples were associated with the narrative which was built around the Tablighi Jamaat incident.
In the case of fake videos, the report mentioned many of the videos that were circulated on social media were fake.
When it begins to talk about audio content, where it says that in the present scenario, viral fake news mongers may create voice content and spread it across the social networking channels. The screen grab, below that, there is a screen grab of that audio clip which was circulated on social media, and it has been partially screened. And after the screening, it reads T. Jama, leaked audio on COVID-19 lockdown. And below that, the content reads that a voice clip of a religious leader who violated lockdown guidelines that went viral. So when you remove the screen, it clearly reads Tablighi Jamaat chiefs leaked audio on COVID-19 lockdown. Interestingly, it was this audio clip which was spoken about in Indian Express report that very morning, which the Delhi police had said that the news was incorrect.
And then something unusual happened.
Interestingly, on Sunday, the report was pulled down from the BPRND website. In fact, the BPRND from its official Twitter handle had tweeted the link to the BPRND report on Saturday. When asked why this report, a very, very important report, which was very, very useful to law enforcement agencies, and it was given out to the public doing, why was it removed? The spokesperson of the BPRND said that it has been pulled down for certain corrections and that it will be uploaded again. However, there is no sight of the report anymore on BPRND website, and what corrections are being carried out, nobody knows.
So how important is this organization and its report?
That's the interesting part. Bureau of Police Research and Development is a think tank under Ministry of Home Affairs. It is headed by a very senior police officer. It has a lot of police officers who are basically engaged in doing research work for policing so that it can improve policing, both law and order, investigative techniques, storage of evidence, data collection. In fact, it comes out every year with the state of police forces in the entire country, which is a very, very informative data on strength of police forces in the country, what are the vacancies, and all other kind of data associated with policing. It is a very, very important agency which is used by all police forces and central agencies across the country as a resource on policing. And it keeps publishing every year multiple research papers, which is aimed at basically improving policing.
So has the Delhi police or any other authority commented on this report being taken down?
In fact, there has been neither any comment from Delhi police nor Ministry of Home Affairs. Everybody has maintained stoic silence on the whole issue. We do not know what corrections are being carried out in this report. We do not know when this report will be published again. We do not know whether it will be published again at all.
You were listening to Three Things by the Indian Express. Today's show, as always, was edited and mixed by our producer Joshua Thomas. If you like the show, then do subscribe to it wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a rating or review. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet to us at Express Audio and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.